If you trace the history of engineering back from modern steel skyscrapers, past medieval cathedrals, and beyond ancient pyramids, you don't end up with early humans. You end up in a dense forest canopy, somewhere between 14 and 18 million years ago. During the Miocene epoch, our great ape ancestors faced a severe biological problem. As they evolved to weigh over 30 kilograms, simply resting on bare tree branches became a lethal hazard. A sleeping ape of that size could easily snap a branch, leading to a fatal fall. To survive, they became intuitive structural engineers. Instead of randomly piling leaves, apes like orangutans and chimpanzees learned to fracture, bend, and weave specific, sturdy branches. They created stable, elevated platforms that distributed their heavy mass securely across the canopy. This secure footing allowed these apes to experience longer, deeper periods of REM sleep. Without the constant muscular tension required to balance on a branch, the brain could finally focus on consolidating procedural memories and repairing synapses, the very cognitive processes that provided the foundation for increasing intelligence. Millions of years later, hominids brought those construction skills to the ground. By 20,000 years ago, at sites like Karane 4 in modern-day Jordan, hunter-gatherers were building complex brushwood huts with distinct zones for cooking, sleeping, and toolmaking. But as those scattered huts evolved into dense settlements, a new problem emerged. In the tightly packed mud-brick streets of ancient Babylon, a single structural failure didn't stay isolated. A collapsing wall could trigger fires and chain reaction collapses that threatened every home on the block. Around 1754 BCE, King Hammurabi addressed this danger by writing the rules of construction into stone. Clauses 229 and 230 of his legal code were brutal and direct. If a builder's negligence caused a house to collapse and kill the owner, the builder was put to death. If the owner's son died, the builder's son was executed. These laws effectively transformed the act of building into a matter of public liability. Because one person's poor workmanship could destroy an entire community, the state demanded a level of accountability that we still see in modern building codes and safety inspections. As ancient cities grew into empires, architects faced a new geometric limitation. Creating massive indoor public spaces like baths or basilicas was nearly impossible using flat stone beams, because they required a dense forest of interior columns to hold up the heavy roof. The Romans solved this with the true arch. By arranging wedge-shaped stones called voussoirs around a central keystone, the geometry of the arch redirects the downward pull of gravity. It forces the weight to curve outward down the sides, putting the entire structure under intense compression. By rotating that exact geometry 360 degrees, Roman engineers created the structural dome, allowing them to vault over enormous open spaces without a single internal support. To build on that scale, they required a durable binder. They used opus caementitium, or Roman concrete, a mixture of quicklime, volcanic ash, and seawater. This combination allowed structures like the Pantheon to survive for 2 millennia. Recent chemical analysis shows this longevity is tied to the way the Romans mixed their materials. They used a process called hot mixing, which left small, undissolved chunks of quicklime, known as limeclasts, scattered throughout the concrete. These clasts provided a chemical fallback. When a crack forms and rainwater seeps in, the water dissolves the limeclasts and recrystallizes them as calcium carbonate, sealing the fracture before it can compromise the structure. This unintentional chemical resilience allowed Roman civic infrastructure to survive the severe environmental stresses that typically destroy stone and mortar. Even after 2,000 years, their piers and breakwaters continue to withstand the corrosive effects of the ocean. Yet, Roman concrete had a limitation. While it could handle immense weight pressing down on it, it possessed very low tensile strength. If the material was pulled or bent, like the floor of a tall building swaying in the wind, it would simply snap. This remained a barrier for centuries, until a 19th-century French gardener named Joseph Monnier noticed his concrete planting pots kept breaking. To reinforce them, he embedded a mesh of iron wire into the wet cement. This combination only works because of a rare physical coincidence. When exposed to heat or cold, steel and concrete expand and contract at the exact same rate. If they didn't, the metal would tear the concrete apart from the inside every time temperatures changed. This synergy created reinforced concrete. The concrete handles the crushing force of gravity, while the steel handles the pulling forces of the wind, providing the exact stability required for towering skyscrapers to safely climb toward the clouds. By balancing the crush of gravity against the pull of the wind, builders could finally move past the natural height limits of stone and brick. This incredible mastery of tension allowed our modern species to build high-density habitats that expand vertically rather than just horizontally. Today, the bottleneck isn't the height of our buildings, but the way we build them. Most construction follows a linear path, taking raw materials, assembling them once, and disposing of the debris. To address this, builders are adopting circular construction. This follows the 7R principle, including rethink, reuse, and recycle, to ensure that materials are recovered and repurposed rather than ending up in a landfill. This shift requires a move into Industry 4.0, where structures exist as data before they exist in reality. These digital twins allow architects to simulate every stress point and material requirement with mathematical precision. Embedded IoT sensors allow these digital models to track the health of the physical building in real time. This data can predict when a component is likely to fail, allowing for repairs before any actual structural damage occurs. On the job site, topography drones and robotic 3D printers turn that data into physical form. By extruding concrete layers with robotic accuracy, we can reduce labor requirements by 70% and cut material waste by nearly half. Across 18 million years, our goal has remained constant. Whether we're weaving branches to secure a night's sleep or programming robots to print sustainable cities, building is our primary method of adapting the environment to our needs. What do you think the next great engineering bottleneck will be? Let us know in the comments.